Everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and today I'm going to be showing you step by step how you can paint this adorable Halloween tree in acrylic paint. I'm going to really break this down to beginner level, so no matter where you're at in your painting journey, you're really going to be able to have a surprisingly good result, even if this is day one of painting. Now, on the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He helps me in that goal by switching cameras. We have many, many cameras. I don't even know how many more anymore. And he zooms in so you can see all the action in the paint of the brushes. You can see the exact things I'm doing for the color mixes. You're really in there. Also, to help you succeed at your painting, if you check the description below, you're going to see a link to our website. On that webpage, there is going to be a traceable because not everybody is up for drawing. If you've never used a traceable before, there's a matching video to tell you how to use the traceable on that webpage. If you haven't ever used acrylic paint before, there's a video on there to tell you some things you need to know about acrylic paint. Also on there is a step-by-step progression so that you don't feel lost in the video or in the process of the painting. And on top of that, for everyone who's been loving gridding, there is the 9x12 basic grid there and a color exchange list. Could you ask for any more? I hope not, because that's pretty much me doing all the things I can think of at this moment to make painting easier for you at home. And that is the goal, is that you can do this at home and then hopefully maybe share it in our Facebook group, which is often cool. Are you ready to paint this spectacular tree, John?
Totally am.
He's not really going to paint it. He's just going to talk to me while I'm painting it. And you guys are going to talk to me during the live stream. Hey, everybody. All right, let's hop in. Okay, so over here, I have the beginning colors that I'm going to be using to start this project. And that is ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, and this is the level 3 artist loft. So you might recognize the name, but this isn't the student. I'm just letting you know that. So if you get a really different result from your artist loft, it's not a surprise to you. Now here is the design that we're doing today, which you also have in picture-in-picture. And this is going to be a lot of fun. Let's talk a little bit about trees. The thing we're going to keep in mind when we do the tree is that trees are widest at the bottom. And as they go up, they get a little bit skinnier as they grow out. So the trunk will be your thickest part. It's going to get skinnier as it goes up. And then each branch, as it comes out, will be skinnier than the branch it's attached to. That's sort of tree math that you've got to know. The other thing I want you to keep in mind, especially if you're new painting, is it's always easier to go long with those branches. And when you're new, sometimes you want to shorten those up. Try to avoid that. Try to go long because it's really going to improve your result. Now, what surface are we working on, say you? And I say, haha, we are working on this 9x12 artist board surface. You could do this on paper for acrylic. You could do this on a stretched canvas. We like to put wishes or intentions into the universe. And I have a few personal ones going out that my friends and moderators are going through. So relief from systematic pain. I'd like to layer onto that a relief for anyone who's dealing with fibromyalgia. A creative breakthrough for anyone who's feeling a little bit lost in their creative process. I hope that this day is the day that you have that breakthrough. Relief from migraines for our own Cad Red. Healing of teeth for our own Teresa. And then healing for Teresa Rose, and we're really wishing her all the strength and healing she can have in her battle with cancer, and she's also wishing that anyone else going through cancer, that they get through that too. And then Robin Jenkins is wishing that her brother comes home and is found, and then they know what's happening there, and I always wish that anyone who's missing makes it home. And then, as I've been doing lately, I would personally like to be an official Disney licensed artist.
Yay!
So I don't know that they would look at all this and be like, yeah, that's a good idea, but I'm going to just take a big brush with clean water and go ahead and brush those words, intentions, thoughts, and ideas into the canvas so that those energies can go out into the world. And yes, if you're asking, is it a cape? It's a cape. Everyone's asked me today, and I'm wearing it. That's what's happening. I'm old enough to know what I want to wear.
Why are you wearing a cape?
Why am I wearing? Because I'm old enough to know what I want to wear. I want to wear a cape.
Well,
you know, a lot of people are like, you're too old to wear a cape. I'm like, I'm finally old enough to know if I want to wear a cape or not. That's what's happened.
You're adulting with a cape on.
I'm going to, first of all, adulting is so much the suck that definitely it's improved by capes. Young people take heart. There's still hope. out there, I'm going to put the little burnt sienna here because we're just going to darken the ultramarine a small bit with the burnt sienna. If you don't have ultramarine blue, guess what? You could just use phthalo blue and it would be fine and the project would not be hurt in the slightest. And I mean literally the slightest. I'm going to take this tool. This is called an artist knife. Just to make the job easier for me, I'm going to mix these together. Guess what you do if you didn't have an artist knife today because you just found me and you're like, I didn't know I needed an artist knife. Is that on the list? Where is the list? That's your experience right now. Got a loyalty card or credit card you're not using anymore? It will work in a pinch till you get yourself an artist knife. Right? That's a good way to save money. Cut up those credit cards into artist knives. Okay. So I'm going to take just a small amount of my burnt sienna and I mix it into my ultramarine. And it just kind of cools it down a bit. It doesn't take a lot. If you'll notice, I didn't use very much, did I? Just a little bit. Because it's, a very powerful mixture. And it also kind of grays it. And that graying of it brings it into that kind of deeper Halloween sort of sky that I'm going for. Now, I'm going to take a round brush just to help myself out. And if you have been a smart cookie and gone by the website, you will see this.
What is that?
This is your step-by-step guide. So we're going to do this part right here. This is step 1. And one of the things I'm going to do to help me with step 1 is I'm going to grab a little bit of my paint. I'm going to take a little bit of my ultramarine, a little bit of my white, and I'm going to come right here. And it's, if you divide the surface in quarters, I'm going to come up here in the upper right quarter and draw a little circle that will eventually be my moon because I have to have something to do my little vortex sky around. So, something to do my little vortex sky around.
I like that vortex sky.
I do too. It's a lot of fun. And I'm just using a detail brush. The size of your moon is a little bigger than a silver dollar. If you're into measurements, if you're into measuring things, which I sometimes am as a teacher, I would say it's about 2 inches in diameter, if that's helpful.
About.
Of course, for people for whom diameter is a big deal, it is not helpful that I just said about. And I recognize that.
So
now I'm going to take a number 8 cast on about. And I'm going to drag off the extra water. I'm going to load it up with a bunch of white, as you can see that I'm doing. Really load it heavily with white. Get a drop of water. And I'm going to get a small amount of my blue mixture. And this is how this works. Now, I'm going to be turning my surface to kind of get this effect. But how I get the little vortex is I come out like this. And I just begin making this little spiral around the moon. Isn't that fun? Yeah. I will dip often in water and I will turn my surface, which will be aggravating for John, who's controlling the camera. He's like, these vortexes, he'll be all ready for the fluffy kitty by the time we get there, though. So it's good we're practicing now. This is done really well on Pinterest. It's very popular. I think it's the most popular piece I put up on Pinterest in a while.
It's a very remarkable sun or moon you've drawn there.
Is it?
Yep.
Well, thank you very much, my darling.
Mathematically speaking, what you've done is pretty cool.
Oh, I didn't know I did any math. I try to avoid doing math at all times. So how'd that happen so I don't do it again?
Well, if you made a 2-inch diameter circle, it has a 1-inch radius. 1 times pi is 3.14. It's pi. So the area of your moon is pi.
Oh, so what you've just learned about me is that I think smart boys are sexy. And that is how my husband got me, guys. He was the smartest one in the room. I'm going to just add a little white as I spiral this around. I like to have, that sort of bright space around, and I want to make sure it stays streaky, so you can see I'm getting that in. Now, as I'm coming out, John's all embarrassed now. I'm going to continue to spiral stroke into this. And I'm just dancing on the canvas. Dip in water, add a little bit of the blue, turn it over. Now that I know I've done some mathematically perfect thing. Of course I did. I'm wearing a cape and can do math now. That's the power of capes, kids. Just wear a cape to school and you will do good on your test. What if at schools have some rule against capes?
Everybody
Not superhero
agrees.
school, huh?
Everyone agrees we should have pie, but no math.
Pie, but no math. Yeah, I like apple pie, blueberry pie, strawberry pie, all the good pies.
I like all the pies that help me calculate circles.
No, I don't like any of those pies. Those are the pie. Actually,
Very
math is
important
wonderful.
pies.
And if math is your art form, I have a lot of respect for you. And math, it can be an art form. It's just also very, very not one. Because it has some little bits of rules, but I think some of those guys working on like theoretical formulas and stuff and the nature of the universe, I think like, the Sheldon Cooper types, I think they're artistic.
You mean the guys who memorize, or girls who memorize pi to like the 10th or 20th decimal point? Just
Yeah, those guys
because
and girls, those boys and ghouls. All right, notice that I'm going darker and darker as while John's, calling out to his people.
We keep pie just differently.
And it's a shame because John makes a very good actual pie. So
It's humble
it's a waste of pie. You never have had humble pie in your life. In fact, you choke on it. I've seen you. So I'm just continuing
Shepherd's
to
pie.
blend these around. Notice how I'm streaking this and making sure it's darker on the outside edges and lighter as it comes towards the moon. Very fun technique. And what is it about? It's about this curved stroke. Notice that I'm curving. And I get a better curve because I work from my shoulder and elbow and my body. And so it has control. Like I still want to go like this. I'm going to go like that. Like Janet Jackson would say. Janet Jackson, she would like my control.
It's
And my
interesting,
cape.
though.
I bet you she would approve of my cape.
Everyone approves of your cape.
I want to bring him back. Capes, fashion statements.
Yeah, fashion capes. They went the way of the cane and what do they call the things that I like on my
Monocles?
shoes? No. The little covers that go on my shoes. I forgot what they're called.
Spats?
Spats.
So when I come around here, I do want to get some of that mid-range blue because again, we want this vortex to go all the way around. So you kind of have to, make it work a little bit. And then
Right.
I'll show you the trick to get that nice finished result.
Sorry,
You gotta
my
love
nose-
step one. Step one. Have a lot of fun. I would say it would rhyme if the next word were sun, but it's not. It's moon. So I got lost in what my thought was.
It's a moon with tiny bats. My nose
Now,
is a little stuffed up. Sorry for my
real
kind of
quick.
nasally blah 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 blah.
Yeah, it's okay. I know sometimes we get the allergies and the sick. So I brought a nice lighter color and I'm going to come around here. And some of these little vortexes I'm going to develop a little bit more. See? See, I love my Bugsy Malone. See? But what that does is helps really enforce that vortex. If you pick up a lot of blue paint, you can just take it back with the white. You're just trying to exaggerate what you're seeing there. See how we're doing that? Just swirling it around, exaggerating that fabulous, crazy, energetic sky. You could do this in many color combos. So once you master the technique, feel free to experiment with the idea. Because techniques, those are free to use. They are. A lot of people think a technique is under copyright. It is not. Only the image.
Yep,
Just
it's
the
true.
image.
This is really pretty. This spiral is brought to you by the number 3.14159265359.
So you just check your spiral, and if you're super happy with it, then you're good. Once that's in, guess what you get to do? You get to put out a little bit of cad yellow. Don't you feel precious?
The yellow moon.
You get to do a little bit of a yellow moon, and I think I will put out a bit of cad red.
The moon,
cad red light.
do you use yellow on the moon because the moon's made of cheese?
I use yellow on the moon because it looks really cool in the middle of that blue.
That's true, it does. I also like a cheesy moon. Very cheddary.
I should have worn a necklace too, but I was worried it would be too much with the cape.
You could You were worried that you'd go over the top with the necklace. It would be too much.
School line is going to be a lot of fun.
It'd be too
Honk
much.
at me now. Sorry. I'm fine. Late night lives are a little weirder than daytime lives. And you've been with us for a while, you may have noticed this trend. So I'm going to start out, I'm just going to use a little white into my yellow. I'm going to paint my pie.
Your pie moon?
Mathematically beautiful pie.
It's a good moon. You know.
Still number 8 cat's tongue. There's a lot of links down below. There's a link to find these brushes if you want the exact brushes I'm using. If you go down even further, there's a bunch of discount codes that you can use. Different places to help you save some money. Always check any place for its sale or discount codes. I'm going to have that nice and yellow, and so I'm going to grab a little bit of my orange here, and I'm going to orange it up.
Ooh, it does nice.
I'm going to just tap in those moon shapes that John says are not moons.
Oh no, those are definitely, like, they imply the seas.
That's right. It's as factual as I need to be
Today.
I
mean, it's the impression of the moon. We all know it's the moon. It doesn't have to be like, this is,
So what I'm doing while John is getting himself out of the trouble he got in the moon last time is I'm adding just a little more orange, and I touch my brush, and I'm just trying to make little sort of patches and moments. It's a very light pressure. I'm making small incremental changes. It's about little bits. By the way, don't stress over these little things. It's about the way the whole picture comes together, not necessarily every single element.
Yeah, I promise I won't comment on where Tycho is supposed to go on the moon.
Guess what we got through, John?
What did we get through?
Step 2! Boom! Step 2! Boom! Right there.
That's good.
Now, if you would find it helpful, you can allow this to dry and draw using chalk and a T-square, a grid on this. And I'm going to quick demo a minor version of that, and it can help you get your picture in even if you don't draw. If even that is like not a fun idea, and it's okay if it's not. If that's not feeling like a fun idea, just use the traceable. Just print it out, and you can follow the instructions on that video and be like, oh, yeah, that's really easy. And no, it's not cheating.
Can I make a suggestion? If you're worried, you could just put a cape on, and you'd have a lot more confidence.
I highly recommend the cape.
The cape really changes your perspective.
Walmart couture, yo. All right. No, there's some good stuff at Walmart, like straight up. So no shade.
I
like it. I like Pioneer Woman is like my jam. All right, I'm gonna get in here.
You dry your surface. So while she's doing, and we'll continue to heckle her for her cape and my nasally nose here. Oh, it's a harvest moon. That's true. It is. It's harvest gold. Although we won't talk about the seas and craters are, generally in the right place. That's okay. I have to heckle my wife every once in a while. I mean, I spend hundreds of hours staring at the sky. So use light heat. That will make sure you don't have things called color shift, which causes your paint to change color, quite literally, when you're drying it with heat. So don't do that. Right, Cinnamon?
Right.
Cool.
So I'm going to come here and I'm going to match the measurements that are here, here, and here. I'm going to make little marks where I see those measurements. So I've got one at 2 inches and 4.5 inches and 7 inches. And then I just make little lines going down. I might have to do it like this so it's not giving me any grief, because I got that weird lip. This is just a little bit like longer than my canvas, and that can make a grief thing. By doing this grid, what you do is allow yourself to see smaller bits of the picture, so that if you're really frustrated with trying to get an image in, it can be just enough anchor to help you through. Drawing is a skill. Gridding is a skill. Freehanding is a skill. They're all just art skills. There's not some end-all be-all of art skills. Now here, we just are every 3 inches. So 3, 6, and 9. We could grid every inch, but that's a lot for a small canvas. However, I gave you links if you want to resize or you're having trouble printing out the traceable. I made sure that there are links on the web page for that. And also the golden color mixer. If you don't have some color and you want to mix an approximation, it can tell you how. Because it's all about helping you succeed. That is the goal.
You know, I have to rehook up our bubble machine.
You really do.
We've crossed.
Can you imagine this cape with bubbles?
I know. Instead, what I'm gonna have to do is
we haven't danced. We haven't bubbled. It's almost like we're not ourselves.
You know, we've been repressed.
You know, there's a weird part of me as your wife that was hoping you secretly hooked up the bubble machine today to surprise me at this moment, but I'm realizing you didn't.
You know, it's just we don't have bubble solution. The machine was on the fritz. That's
okay. We sacrificed John to the lies, so.
That's true.
He risks his skin and well-being.
I did chemistry today.
Yes. It's chemistry day. Chemistry day is my favorite day. So I'm going to come here using this grid. And all you have to do is draw just the part of the grid that you see. So if it goes from here to here, that's all you draw. And then you're like, oh, over here, that's not too bad. And then you're like, oh, I kind of got this hill. So the hill kind of goes like that. You can say that, right? And if trees are not your friend, it will help you figure out how to get this tree in. Right? Because you're not drawing the whole tree, you're just drawing this line that went bump to here. Okay? That's totally doable. Is it not? Yes, I say it is.
Is it?
I think so. Now, I'm going to just worry about the center trunk on this demo because I could freehand the tree in. But I just wanted you to understand the concept of how this works. Because as beginning artists, there's a lot of ways. I don't want to say, the old saying, because I don't believe in doing that at all. But there's a lot of ways to get something done. And that's how I'm going to get the tree up there. And that's the basic trunk, right? So that's not too bad. Then if I want to remove any of the extra chalk, I can just, do it with a clean brush. Don't do it with a brush with yellow on it, just like I did. That's just putting a little bit of yellow. So you can just remove all the extra chalk lines. Isn't that as easy peasy as it could be? That's because this is kids chalk, not oil pastel. Don't do this with oil pastels. So our next thing is we're going to get in our silhouette. And I'm going to put out some black paint, if I can find it, which I know it's here because I just saw it. All right, we're going to do some Artist Level 3. I'm going to use Carbon's black, but you could use Mars black. It's just whatever black you have. Now pick one bucket of water. That's your black paint water.
Is it?
Yeah.
You can't mix?
Don't, because it'll make all your colors money. So just sacrifice one.
Oh, that makes sense.
So coming a little bit under my chalk line, I'm going to paint in this solid hill.
Yep.
Yeah, I want it to be a little bit under. Under. It's sort of just like a little half moon there. I'm going to come here with this brush. You can use whatever brush you have. My first run of grass, I'm just going like this. I just want to make sure that while the hill's in, that I've got that first layer. I can always get fancy with my grass in a minute. right?
Could you talk about your grass technique? Because you don't do lawn grass
Right. So
specifically.
you don't want to go like this. You want to go like that.
Okay,
Curving in the C stroke. Do you see the curve to the stroke? No, you
it's a,
don't see it.
it's
Wait,
about the
watch
pattern.
again.
It's about the pattern, right?
Right. You're just trying to make things as random and unexpected as you can. I
Non-patterning.
press the hardest when I start the stroke, and like I will lighten it as I go, and it's a very flicking thing. And I'm trying to break the pattern and make it feel like wind is blowing through.
If it looks like a mowed lawn, you've gotta
Well,
be
maybe there's a very
crazy.
tidy ghost, but in this
Could be.
particular case, there's not a tidy ghost. So
It could be a well-kept what do
we'll
you call
make
those?
some nicer, finer grass, like when we get our little detail brush in. But we'll get that going there. Now I'm gonna paint in my trunk. You'll see me kind of work inside the chalk lines, and the reason for that is I can always thicken the tree. It is a lot harder to thin the tree. Much like to thin the Sherpa is much harder. It's much easier to thicken the Sherpa than thin the Sherpa. Same with the painting. Dieting humor.
So there's some good puns in chat.
Oh, wonderful. What are our good puns?
Well, Lynn suffers a problem.
Okay.
Her cat took her goat mop brush.
Oh,
Now,
they do. They like those goat mops.
should she buy a new brush or a new cat?
Given how much some of these brushes are, I don't know. It's kind of up to you. There's a lot of cats. A good goat mop is hard to come by.
You know, if
And really honestly, if you're going to come back in and buy a new one, I highly suggest getting I don't have one out cuz I just washed all of mine.
which one?
The synthetic ultimate varnish brush, but actually not for varnish.
Oh.
Use it as you would a goat mop because it's so much better and it doesn't shed.
I've got a quill here.
Yeah, you've just got the quill.
I've just got a quill. All I get.
So I mean, and it's because of the synthetic paint and the way natural hair holds water, and the fact like to get the paint out of the brush, we got to really be able to cleanse it. But you don't want to cleanse the heck out of your natural hair brushes. It's a whole thing. So if you must replace it, I would suggest that one if it's in budget. If not, keep using what you love. I'm not gonna be mad at you. I'm just going to come here and you can see. And as I come up, I'm going to just get a very fine line. And when I start to lose my fine line, I will come back then and use my number 4 round to finish the refined part of the tree. Kind of make sure that that edge is a little blended in, right? It's all about the blendy blends. Now, I'm not going to remove this extra chalk here for any reason yet because it's wet. And that would just move all the paint. This is a number 4 round long handle in the TheArtSherpa line. Any brush like it will work. I will not have my feelings hurt. Okay. I mean, I think it's a good brush and you should try it, but I won't be upset at you.
I'm loving Brian as an awesome general public service announcement that, we should all pay attention to our heart health. And,
oh, yeah.
If you haven't been to your doctor and talked about your heart health, you probably should. And just be like, hey, doc, I've not talked to you about my heart health. Have you, checked out my heart? Because that's, the most important engine that drives all of my existence. Have you made sure it's all cool? So
I don't know why Brian brought us such a good message, but thank you, Brian. That is true.
If you have
I actually
not done that,
just was at my doctor's and we did talk about my heart, Don.
yeah,
We did.
So
that was like a whole conversation that we had.
So, if you haven't done that, for sure you should. It doesn't matter how old you are. You should be like, doc, tell me about my heart health. I need to know.
I need to know. So I'm going to come right here and I'm going to bring a little branch up. And you can see I'm just using
too much up.
The tip of, what?
My camera, it was a runaway camera.
Oh, okay. I can't be responsible for what your camera do. Now, right here, I'm going to make a nice little kind of bend out.
Only the gnome.
And you can see I just taper that little, I taper it. And then if I want another little branch coming here, I can bend that out. I can make these like little spiky, weird, bits that look very threatening and pointy.
Well, trees do when you take all the leaves off of
They can be. Sometimes
them.
they look all kind of wishy-washy, but it's tree by tree.
Willow trees can look a little down when you take all their leaves off.
Now, when I'm trying to hug a moon, right,
Hug a moon.
I will actually bring the part of the branch over first that's hugging the moon so that I kind of get that in. I found when I start from the trunk, I can end up unexpected places. It's like my hand gets a mind of its own, and who knows where all those branches are going to go, what's going to happen. And I may get to the moon, but then again, I might not. Right? And then, while we're here, go ahead and give yourself some little twiggly bits to add stuff to. I think I made my moon a little bit small. That's okay. Doesn't hurt anything. I'll just make smaller bats. Solved. So once you have this, then it's pretty easy to kind of plan how to get it back attached to the tree. You just reverse engineer your branch. And do we remember our tree math, which was not our pie math?
So tree math is the tree is always in front of the moon because the moon is in orbit.
Well,
right?
that's atmospheric perspective math, but however you want to go.
So we know that the tree should never be behind the moon.
It's not helpful if it is. That seems unfortunate.
And what else do we know about the moon?
Not about the moon, about the tree. It's
About the tree.
fatter at the bottom, gets skinnier at the top.
But see, I'm more obsessed about the moon, not the tree.
Clearly you are.
Normally
Clearly.
the trees are in the way of the moon. That's kind of how I feel about trees at night. They're in the way of stuff.
All the rest of us are like, what a beautiful tree. And you're like, it's in the way of the moon.
So the branches are thicker the closer they get to the ground.
Yep. Or the trunk. And then the tree gets thicker as it gets to the ground.
Unless you're one of those crazy African trees that do the cool.
Yeah. Then I'm really sorry. I realize that this is a very kind of North American centric concept of tree. And that if you were in other parts of the world, trees do some different stuff.
I would say this is a northern hemisphere kind of tree.
It does. Yes, I agree.
More northern hemisphere.
I feel like
southern hemisphere gets lots of cool things. A lot more. There's a lot more llamas in the southern hemisphere.
There's certainly not enough llamas in my life.
Well, yeah, they tend to be a more rocky.
You watch for a while, you know that there's this lady who lives in Peru that I stalk on my photo site who has a llama. And anytime she gets any new pictures, I'm like, she's back. So excited and obsessed. All right, can you see how we're making this tree hug a moon?
I do.
It's hugging a moon. Now here, above our bend, you can kind of bring a little upward branch. It's going to come up, and then it's going to do a really cool bendy, crooky thing. Then it's going to go, oh no, I have a little joint here. And maybe a little tiny little twig can go off that way. But another bigger, larger point goes, no, I'm going to wander down this way.
Now, there's a good question. If you're moving from, say, panels, which have little to no edge, I mean, other than the edge, which clearly you have not paid attention to and is a little unfinished.
Right.
Right. I'm not art heckling or anything.
No, I mean, it doesn't matter.
So, but let's say you were using a level 3 canvas that had a 3-inch thick frame.
You paint it around the side.
Yeah?
You just continue what you're doing around the side. Now, I'll tell you candidly, the ones in Michael's are cut and then folded, and that's not ideal. You really want ones that are folded and not cut, because the purpose of that is that a framer could take your artwork off of the stretcher bars, the wood frame, and roll it up, ship it, and restretch it if it's not cut. So something to know, on the cut ones, they're forever on those stretchers unless you have a real specialty person to take care of it. They will charge you a lot. So I'm going to make my little perch for my little owl here. He needs a place that's believable that he could sit. I'm going to make it a little bit crookedy, because I like a crookedy branch.
Now, the Pearl was saying she likes to paint the edges black, which actually I think that this is a big debatable thing. I kind of like it with the edges painted black. I think
On the
it
thin
makes
stretchers, it's acceptable. On the big stretchers, it's not ideal.
I know it's such a thing in the art world where it's like, no, you should wrap your painting, or no, you should paint them white. But I like it black because I think it makes it look very contrasty.
Don and I are always like at this. Okay.
It's like,
here's the trick, though. You want to know the secret?
What is it?
Make yourself happy. It's your art.
Well, you are going to hang it on your wall in your house, so do what you want for sure.
Seriously. Like, first and foremost, make sure you're doing what you want. So when you have your tree,
like
where you like it
on your own show,
you can come here and see, it wasn't dry. And look what happened. Lesson learned, right? Through my mistakes.
Mistakes were made. And now they were undone.
Now they're undone. Yeah. I'll be a little more cautious. And I remember that I've got some wet things afoot going on. And while I'm here, right, I'm going to go ahead and get my nice number 4 round sort of loaded up. And I will take some beautiful little leaves of grass. See that?
I do.
So you can really, at this stage, you know, define the space and get whimsical, and you could do little flowers, you know, lots of little detailing things. So it's a thing to realize, is that there's always a chance to come in and work something out in a painting, or improve something, or make it your own. And as soon as you're happy, take a look at that and see where you are. And if that's good, we are able to move on to step 4.
But
4.
What if we're not, like, emotionally ready to move on to step 4?
You got to do what's right for you.
What if we just want to dwell on step 3 for a little while?
I mean, if that's what you need, I can't stop you. I don't want to hold you back from, you know, what you are, like, needing to do.
But
right?
So I can hit pause and just stay here for a minute
if you feel like you really need to, for sure, yeah. Now, but whatever you're doing, make sure you take some of your black paint and that you thin it with a little bit of water. I like to bring a few drops over and just sort of incorporate it through. I'm using the swirling brush method.
Swirling brush method. I thought it would be a maneuver for sure.
Oh, let's call it that, and then see how many people go, the swirling brush maneuver. From now on.
I think that should be a maneuver.
It's a maneuver. But I'll show you how to put in some bats, if you'd like to know.
Okay.
So the bats are a lot of fun. And sure, you could use the traceable and do that.
It's a technique.
I'll tell you, the first technique is make sure you can see your bats. So I'm going to add my vision enhancers. So look at this. This is a whole thing now, isn't it? I'm Mrs. McGonagall.
McGonagall?
McGonagall. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to make a little bat. And to do that, I make this little sort of this little pointy body. These little pointy body. Got some little ears here. I'm using a number 1 Monogram Liner. It's just the sauce of awesome. It's one of my faves. Then I'm going to come here and curve up a wing. And then I do the opposite angle curve like that. I'm going to add 2 little ribby bars. 1, 2. Ah, so awesome. 2 little ribby bars. Flying away. 2 little ribby bars. Curve. Then what you do is you just join those in. Bat. That's a bat. You all know it's a bat?
Yes. You know, I bet you that bat's name is Coda.
We think we're cool, but we're not cool. Our daughter is right.
I'm pretty sure that's Coda. If you were to ask any other bat, they would say no for sure. That's Batty Coda.
But what about his friend? Who's his friend?
That's Pie.
Not the moon pie. Oh, maybe the other bat should be named Moon Pie.
Oh, he could be Moon Pie. Like,
Okay, we've just named our second bat. Whatever we do with the bat, just make sure the second bat that you're going to paint is, if at all possible, is smaller. So, a much smaller little guy. Because it makes him seem farther away.
you know, the second bat is Bruce Wayne.
Oh, he's Moon Pie. Bella Luna. He's another bat.
Sure.
Bruce Wayne. I bet bats are like super insulted by that name. You give him some little batty ears. These little details make me happy. That's how I get my two little bats. You could do birds if you were like, no, I'm just going to do the W thing that makes birds. That's what we're doing today. That's also okay.
I guess they both can have the last name Zappa.
All right. So when you have two little bats you like, guess what you get to do?
You get texture the tree?
You get texture to the tree.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to add, I don't think I'm going to do it with my little number 4 round. I'm going to get some yellow and a little orange together, loosely mixed. Take this off so I can see what I'm doing. All right. Maybe mostly orange. Let's go there. Ugh. I'm going to put out a little more cad red light. Because I had black paint on my brush. Sometimes if you go from black to color, it's good to go wash your brushes out, even in sink. And of course, when you do, you use Sherpa soap, right?
Yes.
The best art soap in the world. Am I legally allowed to say that?
Yeah.
If I think it.
It's your opinion.
In my opinion,
You know,
Sherpa soap is the best soap in the world. Can you see how I'm doing little leaves here? We're going to do little leaves.
Objectively speaking, I have tested soap. And so, for me, I have yet to test a soap that does a better job of removing paint from the brush. And what's amazing is that the new stuff we're playing with here in the lab is like, we got some chemistry happening, guys.
It's fun stuff. I'll tell you that right now.
Probably some of the most fun I've had since college is the lab that we're doing for soap. So
it's only taken over another whole section of our house. That's fine.
But I have a chemistry lab.
You do. I get a coat.
There are exothermic reactions happening again.
Oh, he just gets so happy.
Chemically derived heat.
It is. Chemically derived heat is so much fun.
Where do you get your chalk?
Where do I get my chalk? CVS.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
thought it was a Michael's. So I guess
Well, you can get it at Michael's. It's been sold out a lot lately, so
Oh, there you go.
CVS is the last place I got my chalk. So you can just see I'm just tapping my brush. I'm not painting perfect little leaf shapes. I'm just tapping some little leaves out, right? It's fun stuff. Tap out a few little leaves. Notice I'm not even barely attaching them to the branch.
Now, why is it you don't attach them?
Because sometimes they're attached to such tiny little twiggly bits that they appear to be floating on air. And I think artistically that's always been fascinating to me. I'm going to blow some of these off, and I'm going to blow some across the sky here. You should always make some of your leaves blow. Blow them leaves! Blow, 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 blow. Now, when you have that, it can be really nice if you want to make it special. And you do, don't you, want to make it special? You'd like to make it special. Add a little of the orange to your yellow. Get a very bright light orange and come through and give yourself a few lighter leaves. And what's wonderful, you're not trying to paint like a whole tree. It's just a few leaves, so you're good either way. You can get anything you need. You can even include some that are blowing down here. So much fun. How are you guys doing? Do we have any questions before we bark up our tree a little grass and be done?
Let's see here. I'll have to
Because
go
we're
over.
wrapping
I was
up real
just
quick.
there was lots of questions about the chalk. You've answered that.
Yeah, CVS, just kids chalk. Kind you do on chalkboard. If you can get a jumbo sharpener with the extra big opening, you can even sharpen it.
Now, Barbara was questioning some stuff out here. Is it true that Sherpa soap is made of dreams?
Yes, dreams and love, and probably blood, sweat, and tears too.
There's definitely both Sherpa and John Love. No blood.
No blood.
Any
very
of the,
clean conditions.
Any of the bleeding has been kept contained. There's been some burning. There's been some burning. That's
Nobody's been
interesting
burned.
thing. But no, it's been pretty.
We're not goofballs here.
It's just chemistry, guys. It's not rocket science.
But there is a lot of, as you guys know, what was it? We just figured this out. We went back and looked. 2015, December 2015 is the first time we started even talking to you guys about the soap.
Got a good question.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a level 1 and a level 3 canvas?
Oh, quality.
But they seem to be thicker too. Why do they get thicker?
Because right now on trend, gallery wrap is a higher perceived value. If you're doing a professional canvas and you use a gallery wrap, you don't obligate yourself or the buyer to framing.
Gallery
wrap really took off. And gallery wrap means that instead of being stapled on the side, the canvas wraps around, and it's generally on very thick stretchers. It has now weirdly come to mean any canvas stapled on the back, which is kind of crazy. I have one over here done because I've got the Boy in the Moon was gallery wrap. I have a Boy in the Moon over here. Want me to get it? Okay. That's okay. So that's really what they're for. Also, sometimes the canvas, the thread count on the canvas improves, the coatings improve. When you get into a fine art store, it really starts to significantly mean difference because you might be getting very high thread counts. You may be getting into something that's been gessoed several times and hand sanded for a finish, not kidding, or a high fine grit gesso is applied. So it can really elevate very quickly.
That's excellent.
I like to talk about these things. Thank you. I need to put out some yellow ochre.
Yellow ochre?
Yellow ochre. I like to mix my cad yellow with my yellow ochre. Otherwise, my yellow grass is so yellow. It's not even cute, man. But I'm going to begin with a little bit of my brown. Thin it with some water, and you can even bring a little cad red light to it, or cad orange, or whatever, which one you're sporting. Come right here. And bring a nice little knot down here. And we're going to just use this brush to make these very loose. Look at this little kind of dashy brush strokes that mean bark. Not bark like a dog, but bark like a tree. You can also do a black and brown. It's just whatever your preference is, how much contrast you want on it. It's all good though. I like to bring as much of it up into the tree as I can without over thickening my lines. It's just a nice touch and can make things look a little more tree-like. And it's not about perfect brush strokes. It's just about making these rough brush strokes that make us think of bark, isn't it? And notice we made a little hole there for little eyes to peek out of.
I like the little holes.
We could have done a pumpkin too in the grass. I highly recommend I didn't do it for this one, but I recommend if you want to and you have time, add some pumpkin.
Yeah.
Follow one of the other tutorials. The vintage truck. Just put those pumpkins in the grass and elevate this painting. You know what I've learned about hoods?
What did you learn about hoods?
They're warm.
Are they?
Yes. I may have a modest head right now, but it's a hot head.
Is it?
It is.
You could de-hood.
I could de-hood, but I'm not going to de-hood. I've committed to a look. And while I'm not a model or anything close to a model, I've decided I've committed to a look.
I
So
get
that's
it.
what we're doing today. We're also going to add some dry grass.
Another thing you're going to notice about Cinnamon is she's stubborn.
Yeah, super stubborn. And I don't let things go easily.
So
when it's on like Donkey Kong forever.
when Cinnamon grinds an axe, it's a pocket knife.
What? What does that even mean?
You know, when they say you have an axe to grind, you just grind it down so much it turns into a pocket knife.
Well, I do try to nurture my grudges and feed them, take good care of them.
You go and visit them down underneath the stairs. Make sure you feed them regularly.
You gotta take care of them. I mean, did Khan not teach us how to handle vengeance?
You were super...
It's a dish best served cold. That's what he said. He's the super being.
Look, I tell you what, Shakespeare is
Ricardo
its best
Montalban said it must be
in
true.
its native Klingon language.
That's right. In his native Klingon language. So I did a bunch of backgrass. Sometimes I like to add a bit of orange into the brush. I haven't even rinsed it out though. I'm going to come in. Give a little bit of orange grass. Not every blade of grass needs to be orange. It's just nice to tie it all in. Rinse it out thoroughly. And I might take a little of my cad yellow into my yellow ochre just to brighten it a bit, but not too much. Right? I'm going to just come here. And you can always, do anything you want to kind of talk to your ochre. But what I would say is go around. Whoops, don't do that. Around your tree. Kind of making a highlight. And I'm going to come on this side of the tree, adding this little bark highlight. And it basically kind of talks to us then about this tree having this really spectacular moonlight on it, doesn't it? Helps us feel that. I can't wait till we do the owl. And I just put those little dashes around wherever it pleases me. And you do the same wherever it pleases you. It's just got to please you. It doesn't have to do another thing to justify its existence. Then please you. Doesn't need to please your relatives. Doesn't need to please your partner. Doesn't need to please your kid. It just needs to please you. Everybody else, it's nice if they get it, but if they don't, we're okay. And come here and just add that next layer of kind of moonlit grass. I like to focus it like in one little spot, like a little moon has caught that area. Owl. Anybody want to learn how to do an owl? Are you guys into an owl?
No, we don't want to owl. What do you mean? Of course they want to owl. That would be like, they might revolt if you didn't put the owl in.
I wouldn't want them to revolt, but mostly I'm going to start with an oval. That's nice, isn't it? Just a little oval, about the size of a thumbprint, isn't it? Or my thumbprint. Maybe your hand's much, much bigger. Then I'm going to take this and make a couple little kind of horned owl upward thingies. Because he's got those little upward feathers. And you can always feather a little bit here and there. But I just like to pull those out a bit and define them. And then fluff his feathers. I'm on the tippy toe of my number 4 brush. Tippy toe. Don't make your owl too skinny because then he'll look like a cockroach. Just a fluffy tree roach. It's an owl problem. I'm telling you, it's a balancing thing. Keeping his BMI within healthy ranges, but keeping him out of that cockroach phase. It's just struggles that artists have. Once you get a good little owl shape going, you can go ahead and you may want to, I think it'll help if you get into the blue mix and a little bit of white so you can see his little toes. Sometimes his little toes want to disappear. But you want to see him, so I'm going to go whoop, 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 whoop.
So you could totally add like tombstones or pumpkins or.
Now, I'm going to take my brush and I can come here, back of the brush, because I'm currently washing my dotting tool as per the usual. I come get some yellow on here, and I'm going to make a couple dots. Dot, dot, dot. Use my dotting tool, this will go easier.
And
Little
those
eyes.
are for the exotic tree Jawas
Yes, those guys.
with the glowing eyes.
I'm just getting some paint that's thin enough to work with. The dotting tool does make it easier. Place some little eyes in there. You know, now that I've got those, I might be like, oh, there could be another. You can see why it's a little harder to do with the Monogram Liner. This doesn't dot as well. I'm going to come here. And I'm going to make a small circle in yellow. And make another small circle in yellow. That's pretty okay.
I like it.
He's got eyes now.
He can see.
And then I'm going to get a little orange. Downward triangle. There we go. That's hysterical. Or it is to me. Get some of my thin black paint. And put some little pupils in the center. And then maybe I might put some little ones here.
Now, if your cad yellow is not popping the way that yours does,
Yes.
could you add white or paint
You
it
could
white?
add white underneath and paint it with white first and then put your yellow over it, because yellow can be really transparent. And so if that's happening to you, that's the best fix for it. I'm gonna make this like more eye-like. Give me a second now, because these eyes started it with me, and now I'm gonna have to finish it.
Uh-oh. Poke him in the eye. Poke him in the eye. What'd you do over there?
I'm just fixing my boo-boos.
Oh, I see.
Because I want them to look like, now they look like kind of cross-eyed, but at least they look like eyes. And when you're all done and happy with what you've got going on, guess what you can do?
You can sign it.
You can sign it. This is the real reason why I like this brush.
This came together really fast.
It did. It's just a fun painting. Step by steps, grids, everything that you need to totally succeed at it. Traceables, more information, websites, all the things, so you can paint this at home. Now, I'd like to show you before we go a couple of the things that we have already done and have coming up for the 13 days of Halloween.
Show us.
So we got a couple really cool ones coming up. I'm going to show those first. I have this coming up. This is our really fabulous super glam witch legs. She's a glam witch. I got really into saying that, so that got stuck there. Oh, never mind. That's one we've already done. Everybody's getting a really good result from it. You can find it in the playlist. He was a lot of fun, wasn't he?
I love the background on this guy. This one,
he's terrific.
The layers on this one are so much fun.
Just super fun.
Super easy. Any beginner can accomplish that one. And Pumpkin Man, an iconic, great painting.
Just one of the best.
We got a little, into the gourd bumps on that video. We thought a little,
we had a gourd
chronology about, but it was good.
It was good, right?
We thought about the bumps of the gourd. You could be
We
gourdy.
did. I gotta get that off something. I'm getting paint on all my other paintings storing in here.
That was a good
Last
video.
one. This one I'm pretty excited about. This one I'm personally pretty excited about, and I know you've seen it and really loved it. Magical Cat.
Oh, that's a great video. I remember doing that
We
video.
didn't do this video.
I know, but I'm time traveling now, so
Oh, okay.
I remember doing it. It was awesome.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be
All
awesome.
these have step-by-steps. All of these have guides. You absolutely are going to be able to get everything you need out of it. Oh,
Actually,
and don't forget.
put
Yes.
the cat back up, because the
Okay.
cat is really that's a special one coming. That's that I'm super excited about the cat.
I am too. I think the cat's going to be special. We're going to have at the end of this over 70 paintings of full free tutorials that you can do for Halloween.
Yeah, I
So-
remember everyone loves the cat.
I love the cat.
It's-
We'll do
there are
more
gonna be
cat.
there are so many people who do this cat. They love this cat.
We're going to have so much fun.
This is a good cat.
There's our
Well,
vintage
of
truck.
course, you got the girls in the truck. Can't miss that girls in
You
the
have
truck.
something now to go with all. I was just like out like looking, and this is to go with all the tea towels and all the floor mats and all the wood cutouts that you got.
But we just did a tree hugging a moon, and that was pretty cool.
And very, very friendly for
And-
every level. I'm going
and
to go
look,
forward.
We did it while she was wearing a hood.
Wear a cape. If you have to
Cape.
adult,
You
cape it up.
adulted with a cape.
I'm hogwarding too, so
You
It's
see
a
the
whole
cape,
thing.
See, the cape goes all the way down the back.
cape, cape.
Cape.
It's not a long cape.
It doesn't matter. Long
It's a
capes,
restroom safe length.
long capes are dangerous to superheroes. They should only wear.
I
half
don't.
capes.
I'd like even if I could fly, I wouldn't fly. I'm afraid of heights, so that would be a superpower completely wasted on me. So I can just wear capes and I can be fabulous on the ground.
You're super Sherpa.
Listen, I hope you guys are loving this Halloween. I am too. Really appreciate your support. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit it, because you know YouTube takes you away. Make sure you hit the reminds. Check the future lives. If you need to know what we're doing, we've got a calendar on the website. You can go by there. You can leave comments on the website too. You can even upload pictures there as well. You can come by our Facebook group and share. It's a great place to share your first painting or your 100th. It's a very supportive place, and we curate it so it's very family friendly. But here's the important thing: be good to yourself and be good to each other. And I do want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye bye.